Welcome to another day of Ether Raids. We are taking on a rematch here. This guy bodied me with Ira, so we're gonna see if we can get some revenge here. I'm also watching Oblivion summoning session here with new banner, Edelgard and stuff. Just did my summons also. Did not get Edelgard because she just didn't pop up. I did full circle, she didn't pop up, but we got pretty much everyone else. Sparked Claude. Don't know if I'm going to go back in to get that Edelgard because, like I was saying, she doesn't have a way to actually get to the opponent, and that's the biggest problem that I've been having with Winter Edelgard that I used extensively. I only stopped using that team like last week, so until there's a way to get Edelgard up there to actually do the Edelgard thing, there's really no point in pulling for a new Edelgard, which is kind of why I was like, okay, so this is after I've like watched the full thing, the video, the summoning video and everything. I literally watch, like, for me, I watch everyone's stuff. Like, so I watched everyone's video, everyone's review, and pretty much they were saying something a little bit different in regards to why Edelgard is potentially bad, which is really more about her ability to neutralize specials. I don't really care about that, because ultimately it doesn't even matter if she can't get there in the first place. That is the main problem with these player phase Edelgards, not being able to actually get to where they need to attack at. Their mobility, even though they have, 3 spaces, plus, well, inclusive of the warping, actually being able to get to where you need them to attack from makes them terrible initiators in this current meta, because barricade is everywhere, higher ground, lower ground now. All of the Star Wars references, it's pretty much everywhere now. So just being able to go in with your Gale Force unit, it's so much harder. I think this is officially the year that IS is just done with warping, because they're just giving out the warp bubble effect like candy to everyone, and I didn't expect it to be this prominent. I was expecting like maybe an ult for Gatekeeper, so it would be contained to a specific unit, but to have it on a save skill means that it's going to be on pretty much every armor, because that's like what armors do, and armors are everywhere in the meta. So yeah, it's really tough to like Gale Force now. I mean, not that you can't, you still can Gale Force if you just get through the units that you want to. Really, it's better if you're trying to do it with range units, since they have more reach, but melee Gale Force is becoming a lot more difficult, just because of being able to actually get there, and that's Edelgard's problem. That's why I had to just like stop using that team, because I could no longer get there. Like, you could warp over like a certain position, a certain spot, and then try to walk up, but or smite, but then all of that is wasting an action essentially. Maybe if you brought like a dancer that had like a dual refresh ability, that would allow you to get another action out of Edelgard, maybe then I could see it working. But I don't have dual Dorothea, and I don't think there's any other dual unit that gives you extra actions for 3 houses characters.
Close your eyes.
So you're kind of not winning anything there, unless you're bringing dual Peony, who just solves that specific problem. But aside from that, yeah, the movement, the warping, that's really the biggest issue in the current meta for Edelgard, and that's why I wasn't like really high on this new Edelgard ult. They could have waited before putting this. They didn't need to put her in that position, even though she looks fantastic. No knock on the art or anything or like that. It's just unit character selection. She could have been no one else can really do the Raging Storm thing. It's kind of her thing. But this was probably an opportunity to give us like a Felix ult, even though he just got his Brave. But this was probably an opportunity to give us a Felix ult, since Felix kind of does something similar. I'm kind of not paying attention to what I'm doing here, and I'm kind of feeling like I've messed this up already, because Thor needs to be the one to attack into Athos, and I don't think I've positioned her well to actually get there. Unless I take out Neathauger here, not Neathauger, Haythrun, but I don't think I have the positioning here to actually do that. So Yeah, I feel like I've actually messed this up. I was actually hoping that Layla would have been able to take out Na here, which would have made my life a lot easier, but she's actually failing. Maybe I should have waited until turn 3 to get the dual strike. Turn 4 to get the dual strike from Evil Baby Golvig. Maybe that would have benefited me a little bit more, but I actually don't see the play here. I don't see the play to get through this. Also, the only downside about... I should have probably positioned the flash differently, because Thor's whole thing is reflective damage, but if she's not getting hit, then there's no damage being reflected. So maybe I should have put Layla in a different position so that the flash effect wouldn't have spread to Nagi. I don't know. This is all hindsight at this point, because I have clearly played myself here and I've just bottled this. Did not need to Gale Force this. I could have just tanked it because it's just Nurgle and Aethus, and I have saves that can handle that pretty well. But I wanted to do this because I figured it would be more fun. I really do enjoy using this team, but as you can see here, I'm having a bit of a hard time getting through. And also, the bonus mythic doesn't really offer me very much when it comes to Gale Forcing. At least not on turn 1. If you wait until turn 4, then, you know, maybe you can get going somewhere, but that's not the point of Gale Forcing, you know? Or at least not how I do it. Yeah, this is chalked, but let's keep going, I guess. Let's see if I can try to figure it out somehow, maybe. Did I waste my dance? Also, I'm kind of like in a bad spot to reposition with Crom. I wanted Crom to get the status effects from Tana, but there's no way that I'll be able to do that with how I've set this out, so this is just a loss, I think. Unfortunate. But it's okay. I mean, we got 8 ladders now, so might as well use them. It's not the end of the world. He gets to live in safety, for me at least. He like really ran through my defense with Ira. I totally expected that to happen as well, because there's really nothing that you can do about this new Ira, legendary Ira. She pretty much KOs everything. So I was like going through, like when I was building, I was going through my defense, looking at the saves, and I was like, which one of these armored units can actually live up to what Ira is offering?
Your orders?
Really, I kind of fell to, like, let's say, Gatry, maybe? I don't know. I didn't actually test it. Gatry, then winning the speed check. Don't think there's any armors fast enough, aside from maybe Amelia, but you'd probably need a little bit of investment there. And then maybe Fjorm. But all of them would really want to get like Shield Fighter Pavis, stuff like that. And she's gonna get the double. Ira, she's gonna get the double. And the only one that can really live the hit is Gatry, just because he's blue and he's probably bulky enough to tank a hit from Ira, just because of the weapon triangle advantage and his actual color. So, but Gatry also sometimes loses to other units, so I don't know, man. It was a tough pick, but I ultimately just went with Formortis because he's already a legendary. He's a mythic unit, so I get the speed buff and the extra HP. So I was just like, all right, we're just gonna have to accept that we lose to Ira now. That's like another one of, so we lose to Ira and we lose to Embla teams with the correct support. So there's just 2 things that I just got to accept. Really nothing that I can do about that, and that's fine. You can't win all the matches. Everyone isn't going to do that, but I don't know. Let's see how the rest of the week pans out. Ira's really popular. I actually voted for her quite a few times for a Hero Rises, so more than likely she's going to be like really common, but luckily it won't always be water season. So maybe, you know, that's the thing, but at least for the rest of this month, that's going to be a pain. That's always going to be an entry point near save, which I guess it kind of always, far save, you always had a way to, there's always an entry point depending on the units that you bring. So not the end of the world. He played really well. It was like a hit and run with Ira, and she's really good at that because she can just run away, which is actually what you want to do in the current meta with your God Swords. They no longer have the bulk necessary to survive a lot of attacks. So really having them run into something and then take it out, which they do still have the killing power, they just don't have the same amount of survivability. Having them run away it's really the optimal playstyle for most God Swords in the game. So that Brutal Tempest, or whatever it's called, is a really good C skill for Omni Tanks or God Swords or whatever you want to call it. So unfortunately we get the KO on Na here, but it has to be with Thor, and well, I mean Tana gets it too, but if I move Tana to that position, then I won't actually be able to warp Thor into attacking to Athos. And I'm only like, Thor is the only one that I'm confident about actually being able to do anything to Athos. So don't think we're going to be able to win this. And then it's really also going to boil down to pinning, what's her face? Igraine? Dual Igraine? And I don't think I have the actions to get Plunmeria to safety. So also, Crom isn't doing anything into Nagi, so there's that as well. This is just not looking great. Probably should have just tanked it, but that's hindsight. Yeah, I'm probably gonna surrender soon. I'll keep trying for a little bit here, but I can't really think of anything to make this work in a way that actually makes sense, because Tana already used Tricanto, so it's not like I can do this and then run away. And then Plumeri is still going to be stuck there unless I smite or reposition with Crom, and Crom does not have 4 movement since I didn't copy that status effect, so it's just not going to happen. I wonder if there's going to be another unit that can copy status effects the way that this Crom can, because typically unique stuff like that doesn't stay locked behind a vault for very long. Maybe it's an effect that they'll give to Valentine's Crom. That's something that could potentially happen. Or maybe they don't copy all the status effects, maybe they just copy one. That could be, also cool, but we'll see how that pans out in the future. It could even be like well, no, it can't be a Baby Robin thing. Robin is kind of more about Rally Spectrum, and they haven't cared towards that. Well, we'll see what happens, but I think that would be an interesting effect to put on a couple other units in the future, since we're so bonus heavy now, and yeah, there's just a lot of status effects that you can copy. I saw the list, PN1's, well, he didn't make it. It was, BC, I think, credit. But Mike, I didn't realize that the list, there were so many, when you put it on paper, there is so much in the game. Just status effects alone, there are so many, it's like 30, something like that. And I don't know, maybe, like, got me thinking, well, I'm pretty sure that Shadow had done a video with Crom with all of those status effects, but I wonder if he's ever updated it since, just to see what Crom can do with all of those effects. But man, it's a ton. And then the debuffs are kind of catching up as well. Don't know how they're going to implement newer debuffs, because I feel like we're at a stage where we need some fresh debuffs. The last one we got was Sabotage, if I'm not mistaken, because it was Panic in Discord before, and then we got Sabotage. So I feel like we need a new debuff in the game. I don't know what it's going to be. Well, of course I don't. I'm not the developer, but we need something. I wouldn't really classify Anathema as a debuff. I think it's more of a positive effect. Well, it's really, I forget which one of the list it was on. I forget. I don't get to decide. It's already on one of the lists. I don't remember which one it's on, but I think that we need just a couple more debuffs just to help us out with stat swings, because everything is just Sabotage and Discord currently. Yeah, we need another way to debilitate our opponent's stats, which is really, something that will help us out in a lot of these matchups. But yeah, this is chalked. Totally messed this one up. It's fine. I'll just play another one. GG's, man, you got me. All right, here's our second attempt. We're taking on Jellybean this time, and we're going to go with the same team because I just want to. Sometimes when you lose, you just want to try again with this. You don't want to change anything. You just want to vindicate. Was it prove or is it vindicate? You want to prove to yourself that you're not trash. That's what I'm trying to do here. So yeah, we're gonna go with the same team. Hopefully, we have a better outcome this time around. We have Claude here to deal with Red Neathhogger, so that should. What am I saying, Claude? Crom here to deal with Red Neathhogger, so hopefully that pans out. And yeah, we're gonna go up here and smack stuff around. Biggest concern is actually was something that I was noticing yet again from that last match was Athos potentially being too bulky to take out. So let's see what happens when we get up there. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting times. Also, I'm kind of getting is it obsessed or intrigued or I've developed a desire. Like whenever I see that summoning circle, I kind of want to just wait until turn 3 if possible, just to see who pops out. And it's not the greatest thing to do. It's not the best thing to do because it could be, you know, someone that actually ruins your run. But I've become what's the word? I don't know what the word is right now, but I really enjoy waiting to see what the surprise mechanic is. And that's not a good thing. Don't be like me. It's kind of the same way that I play rival domains.
Will do.
I always wait to see what units pop out. Even when I'm like 20 kills in, I always wait like one more turn just to see who pops up. But yeah, anyways, still watching Oblivion stream. Man, Rhea is getting dumped, like dumpstered by a lot of the nukes, Athos in particular, which I kind of expected since she's not really built for far saving. I think I mentioned it. I think I did. She's not really built for far saving. She's really built geared towards near saving, and a lot of the stuff that she has is specifically to counter Sigurd and Felix, which Felix, like that last match, attacking into Athos, I did like a couple of test runs after that, and he like does no damage really without Gust into Athos, and it's quite sad. Feel like he's fallen off, starting to at least. Well, maybe even from before. Well, maybe that was just an SD thing, but it's kind of spilling over into Ather raids now as well. He's definitely not the potent threat that he once was. When he's not able to take out a range unit, that just gives you some idea as to how tanky Athos is and how far Felix has fallen. But that's totally fine because he had a really long... Since August, man. Since August. That's a long time for a unit to be, like, really viable in the game. And it's not like he's completely dead in the water. He still has, you know, legs that he can stand on. He's gonna be alright. He'll be alright. But it's really surprising. I'm just really surprised at how bulky Athos is. And I'm not quite sure what'll happen when we get over there, but we'll figure it out. Missed the Gale Force there, which is typically why I always like to reposition Thor up to have her close to Tana so that the Gale Force is really consistent there. But I mean, it's fine. I used to run her with, originally I ran her with Heavy Blade, but it is what it is. You know, Thor is here. You know, typically I like to just take advantage of that. So yeah, watching Oblivion stream. It's kind of hard to focus. I'm probably gonna rewind and see what's going on, you know, again. I'll probably rewatch it after this when I'm done or when it's finished, because I feel like watching something and trying to focus with Ether raids, it's not the greatest strategy. That's why I'm messing up so much. It's affecting my decision making. I'm not fully focused here. And also I'm you know, talking at the same time, so all three things combined just isn't making for great gamelplay for me. But it's a really fun stream.
I'll handle this.
They're currently he's currently on Edelgard now, and you know, I kind of just spoke about her. I didn't get her. Did I say that? Yeah, I didn't get Edelgard.
By your will.
But I don't know if I'm gonna go back in or not.
I seek a foe.
Maybe I'll wait until she's on a double special heroes banner, because
they will submit.
again, no pass. And I don't know, I don't think there'll be a pass seal. And even if there is a pass seal, there's no way that they're going to allow you to run it on. It's more than likely going to be an echo skill. And since she already has the perf B, then what's the point? You know, it's not going to be great for her. Probably great for her original version, the infantry one. But the rest of them all have some type of preferential skill that wouldn't allow them to really run past echo skill. So I don't know what they're going to do that will remedy that situation, aside from having another unit that kind of replicates what Tana does. I think Tana is a good description of what we can expect from the future of gale forcing, because essentially what she does is that she reduces the...
I seek a foe.
I mean,
they will submit.
How do I describe this? She reduces the necessity of pass as well as Wings of Mercy, because you can just warp to her instead of having to go up and do it yourself. It's easier to waste an action to try to get Tana into position than it is to have to try to get Edelgard into position. I don't know. Maybe I'm just looking at it wrong, but that's just how I feel. I did have something that I wanted to mention, but I kind of forgot. Haze Slice, not too. Aside from, you know, just the units themselves, everyone keeps saying that the fodder is great, but Haze Slice seems to be really player face focused. I'm not like the highest on it. That's probably just something I'll look for in Hall of Forms. I don't really care for it. Probably be good on like Valentian Paula, who I do want to upgrade. But yeah, whatever. Pod has nothing that really interests me. Incited, I mean, whatever. Rhea, I'm not like the highest on lower ground either. I'm probably gonna swap that out for some type of twin save skill, because as a near saver, since she has that miracle effect, she would prefer to have some type of healing consistently. I guess you can outsource that instead of having it in her save skill and then still keep the lower ground, which is an option, but I personally probably going to swap that out. Edelgard, no pass, that C skill, assault, whatever it's called, not really usable on the units that you wanted to use it on. So whatever there. And yeah, nothing really like crazy for inheritance. So you're really just looking at the units, and really you don't really need more than a one-off of each. I would say maybe Rhea for merges, since she would perform better with merges because she's a save. Stats matter. But for everyone else, you can do well with just a singular copy, which is, I guess, like, that's fine, I guess. In comparison to the Winter Banner, this one isn't as crazy. The Winter Banner that they were all on, this one isn't as crazy, I want to say. Which is, again, why I was saying that they could have just not used Edelgard here and saved her for later, and then also made her even more busted when they eventually put her out, because I don't think she's going to get another ult this year. So, yeah, don't think this was the right banner for her. Dimitri could also have been another unit. The Atrocity is cool, but what it does is cool, but also that could have just been another unit. And then Claude could have just been a Bernadette alt. Like, I feel like he's copying exactly what trying to copy what Bernadette does, but he just doesn't do it to the same
I seek a foe.
level of what's the word? He doesn't do it to the same. He's not as good as Bernadetta. There's a word that is quality? I don't know. Yeah, he's just not as good as Bernadetta, because Bernadetta has Brave naturally, where he has to outsource it. And if you're going to Vantage, not only does she have Brave, she has Brave Desperation, which means she's going to hit all 4 of her attacks if you attack into her from that specific setup. Whereas he will at most hit twice, so he's going to be taking a hit. So he just does not do what Bernadetta does as well. So really, that could have just been another Bernadetta alt or someone else. Really was not. This didn't have to be a full 3 houses banner. Rhea, okay, I'll let that slide. But there could have been a bunch of other units on this banner. Maybe even give Flame an alt. My God. Well, I mean, she already has one, but it's not very good. But yeah, I had something else that I wanted to mention. Also wanted to point out the fact that I probably glossed over not being able to take out, or just not mention. I didn't mention how annoyed I was by the fact that I wasn't able to take out Athos there with Thor, which is actually insane. She was hitting for 48 times 2, I believe it was, and just 0 damage being done to the guy. So yeah, he's a lot tankier than I anticipated. He is yeah, definitely eating up those Viagra pills, taking no damage, actually healing from a lot of these initiations. So currently I'm just figuring out how to pin him instead of trying to pin Ather here, which is probably the better option. It's looking like that's why I positioned Thor in that spot. Really great that Crom was able to take out Ather there, actually pulling his weight this time. So yeah, this was this was a close one. We're gonna see what we are able to do once he's solo, because he is a lot tankier than I initially. Still not dying to Thor, and Thor is doing even less damage because she's not moving, of course. But yeah, he is. Oh, he's really living up to that "you shall not pass" mantle here. We're gonna wait, or at least, as I said, I'm gonna wait one more turn just to see who pops out of that hole. Even though I could have gotten the KO there with Layla, I really do want to see who pops out of that hole. So let's wait one more turn and see what pops up, and then take him out. It's good to know that it's a lot easier to deal with him once he's solo, but then that's probably also the case for a lot of units, so I don't really know if there's any value in that, really. But yeah, let's see what we got here. It is Ather. Okay, so problem now is that, well, I don't know. Let's see if it actually matters. He has a 3x3.
I seek a foe.
Okay, yeah, it's not happening again. Okay, so he gets more stats once he's not, like, completely alone. He has a 1 ally in 3 spaces condition to get a lot of his weapon effect. And that's what's currently happening here. He has a ton of, what is this, res-based damage reduction? What is it? I don't know what it is. Oh, he's getting stats based off his res. So yeah, not quite sure how to. So this is the downside of waiting that final turn to see who pops up, because it could just be someone that you can't KO. With this specific Gale Force team, it doesn't have, you know, the most firepower. I could also just run away. That's one of the great things about, because all I'd have to do is just reposition with Tana, and she would Kanto, and then everyone could just warp to her. So that's a great way to escape with this team.
I seek a foe.
But yeah, you don't have to wait until turn 3 if you don't want to. I think there's definitely a way for me to figure this out. It's totally fine. I can get through this. It'll be done. But yeah, Claude is looking like he's going to be really good. Again, still watching the Fleevian screen. Claude is looking like he's, you know, really good with the gravity effects. It's good that it's back. It was really niche on Pajaji Beefcakes because she was an armored unit, and it's kind of difficult for that to be in her B skill. If it was in her weapon, it would have caught on a lot more, because it's actually a really, really powerful effect. Imagine if that was on defense and she swapped enemy phase, then you kind of be screwed for the next player phase, because that ruins so much of your mobility. Even though, you know, charge and warping is everywhere. Like I said, IS is like kind of done with warping, it seems, this year, and there is so much warp denial all over the place, in barricade and higher, lower ground, all of the grounds. We're living on land pretty much. It's all over the place. So you know, I don't know if they're like ramping into something with, I don't know what they're, because it's kind of set up for flyers to really just take off from here, 3 movement flyers. I feel like they're going to have a lot more prominence in the game. I don't know if they're shaping up to do something with that, but that's just, you know, what I feel we're leading up to. So let's see what happens, man. Let's see what happens. But yeah, Ira, rolling back to Ira. I hope she wins at the same time, because I would love to get copies of her. Like I want to get as close to +10 as possible. But that's all the way in March.
I'll handle this.
But then also, I don't want everyone getting a free copy of her because then I don't know. What do you do with your save units? Your near save? Near save will be done at that point because everyone can just attack with Ira and bop and then get out. And then also Nana still is going to be up for her refine and she does pretty much the same thing. So either we're going to get armors that are like absolutely cracked soon, which I didn't expect us to get another armored unit so soon after New Year's Neathhogger. I thought they'd, just be a bunch of range units on this banner. But yeah, don't know what's going to happen. This is a really interesting year so far. Really excited to see how this develops. Yeah, as you can see here, is a lot less tanky when he's alone, but of course that can be said of any unit in the game. A lot of them have effects that are like ally dependent within X amount of spaces, so no huge surprise. But man, he is a beefy boy, this Athos. I don't know, man. Old man got hands. He definitely got hands. 54 times 2, 11. My God. All right. It's going to be a busy week. Didn't expect to see this many ace with this, but